Welcome to Necromancer, the podcast that guides you through the haunted, the forgotten, and the deeply unsettling. Each episode, we unearth chilling tales and eerie legends from the shadows of history. Set the mood, dim the lights, silence the world, and let the darkness settle in. If the story stays with you, share it. Some voices were never meant to fade. Let's begin. Part 1. The House. I was a little over 2 years old, just starting to walk on my own when this event took place. My mom only told me this story about 3 years ago when I was 32 and about to get married. She was raised in a very tiny fundamentalist Christian community. She had no belief in the paranormal. She believed our souls sleep until Judgment Day or something like that, which meant there were no ghosts, no spirits, nothing to haunt a house. But even over 30 years later, as she told me this, she still sounded terrified. This woman, who always talks too loud, was whispering by the end of it, and she was white as a sheet. I believed her completely, and I still do. She never talks about things like this. I'm just glad I can't remember it. In 1988, my parents had their second child, my brother Victor. We were crowded in a small rented flat with two babies, so they moved to a rambling old two-story farmhouse on a 7-acre plot in southern Ohio for more space. It was way out in the countryside. Took almost an hour just to get to town. My mom says that the first time I saw the house, I freaked out. I was crying and saying things like, don't like mean house, ugly house, don't like, scary house, mama don't like. She told me that was very out of character for me. But after a few weeks, I stopped complaining. She figured it was just stress from the move. The house itself was in rough shape. The kitchen was way at the back, and until shortly before we moved in, it had an old wood burning stove against the rear wall. That stove had caught the wall on fire a few months earlier, causing serious damage. Most of it hadn't been repaired, so my parents got a very cheap rental agreement. Upstairs, directly above the kitchen, was a locked room. The landlord claimed it had been heavily fire damaged. Her son said the only damage was in the kitchen. Either way, the landlord was very clear that room was off limits. My parents respected that. The locked door sat right next to the upstairs landing. You couldn't avoid it. Both my parents later told me that it gave them the creeps. A few months after we moved in, my mom and I were outside in the yard with our Pit Doberman mix boss. She was hanging laundry. I was playing with the dog. She told me that just as she noticed how unnaturally quiet it had gotten, Boss started going crazy from surprisingly far away. There was a small duck pond about 500 yards to the left of the house. Boss was between us, running toward her, then back toward the pond, barking frantically. She looked toward the water and saw something thrashing in the middle of the pond. She ran full speed. But Boss got there first. He dragged me out of the water himself. She couldn't understand how I got there so quickly or how I ended up in the middle of a pond that was over my head. I couldn't swim. Still, she figured she must have underestimated me. After that, she brought in baby gates and playpens. I was to be contained always. A few weeks later, she was downstairs cooking. Boss was outside. Victor was asleep in his crib. I was in my playpen upstairs in my room. There was a baby gate at my door and another at the top of the stairs. The staircase ran up from the side of the kitchen so she could hear us if we cried. No more than 15 minutes after she last checked, Boss started barking again. She ran upstairs. Victor was still asleep. Every gate was closed and locked, but I was gone. She searched the house in a panic. Nothing, and then she remembered the pond. She ran outside. Boss was tearing through the yard, barking like mad. When she stepped out, he bolted not toward the pond, but the opposite direction. He'd run ahead, stop, bark, wait for her to catch up, then dart forward again. She followed him. He led her nearly a mile and a half down the dirt road that separated our property from the neighbors to a thick stand of trees. Part 2. The Children. She told me the first thing she noticed was the smell, a heavy, putrid stench of advanced decay. With her heart in her throat and her stomach full of ice, she stepped into the trees. There were piles of corrugated tin, tarps, tires, junk everywhere, and the stench was strongest around these makeshift mounds. She peeked under a sheet of tin and found the decomposing body of a butchered cow. The deeper she went, the worse it got. There was less effort to hide the remains. Bones, rotting flesh, flies, blood. The ground was scattered with the remains of slaughtered cattle. Apparently, the neighbor, trying to cheat his taxes, had been illegally butchering cows and dumping the remains in that thicket. And in the middle of it all, there I was, standing there, looking around like I was confused. She ran to me, checked that I wasn't hurt. Then she asked me, "Why are you here? How did you get here?" She said. I looked at her with the serious expression only very young children have and told her, "The children brought me here." She froze. Someone had walked past her, through the kitchen, up the stairs, unlocked every gate, taken me out, and left again without a sound. Terrified, she asked, "What children? Where are they now?" I looked her straight in the eye and said, "They live with us, in the room at the top of the stairs." And then I told her I didn't see them anymore. After that, she tried again and again to ask me about it. Each time, I'd go silent, just stare at her. Same expression, no answer. Eventually, she gave up and began pleading with my dad to move us closer to town. Now, the pond may be barely believable, but that walk into the woods, she swears it's impossible. There's no way I could have unlocked those gates, gotten out past her, and ended up nearly 2 miles down the road in under 15 minutes. I was 2 years old, clumsy, slow, she's still shaken by it. 30 years later, as for me, I have no idea what happened that day. I've thought about hypnosis, but I'm not sure I want to remember. Maybe it's better left a mystery, because whatever those things were, I really don't think they were children.